belter. Aerosmith, Dream On. Played it for Steve and James, Steve Hannon. Brilliant. Makes a cold butcher very happy, he said. Dear Dermot, have a word with Sally. The Rattling Ferry doesn't take trucks. Lol, a lot of Sally love today. How nice of Sally to mention the Sandbanks Ferry being out of action, considering it's not been in service since November and won't be back until the end of February. We don't get here for the traffic and travel. If you don't understand that now, you never will. Set to have a great weekend. Going to see our beautiful godson. Lots of cuddles from Lucy and Alex, who's driving. Thanks so much for listening. To Becky at the RSPB and Debbie Blackburn. Jake Shears on a show next week. Claudia's up next. BBC Radio 2 on your Sounds app, your smart speaker at 88 to 91 FM. Have a good Saturday.
BBC News at 10 o'clock. This is Justine Green. The airline Flybe has collapsed into administration and cancelled all flights. Passengers expecting to travel with it have been told not to go to the airport. The company also collapsed in 2020 but was revived last year. Most of Flybe's routes were within the UK, but it also operated services to Amsterdam and Geneva. The independent website's travel correspondent Simon Calder says people whose flights have been cancelled should be able to make alternative arrangements.
If you are flying, for example, from London Heathrow to Amsterdam, well, there's about a dozen other flights that you can catch. And yes, it will be expensive and annoying, but you will be able to get where you need to be. And then you claim back your original fare from the issuer of your card.
The BBC has been told that some civil servants who plan to lodge complaints against the Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab over alleged bullying decided not to go ahead because they didn't want to be identified. It's understood a number of them are now offering to act as witnesses to an investigation into Mr Raab's behaviour. He denies any wrongdoing. Protests have been held in several American cities after police in Memphis released a graphic video showing 5 officers beating a 29-year-old man who later died from his injuries. The footage of the traffic stop earlier this month shows no sign of Tyree Nichols initially resisting the officers, who have now been charged with murder. The victim and the officers are all black. At a protest in New York, an activist, Ella Rapp, says the case has revived anger over the killing of George Floyd, a black man who died in 2020 after a white police officer knelt on his neck.
It's horrible, but also more of the same, like surprising and not surprising in some ways. And I think it's particularly discouraging that, since the largest protest movement in the United States in 2020, very little progress has been made in some ways, which I think is what this case made a lot of people think about.
Officials in Israel say 2 people have been shot and wounded in a new attack this morning in the occupied East Jerusalem after a Palestinian gunman killed 7 worshippers outside a synagogue yesterday. The perpetrator of last night's attack was shot dead by police. Israel says it's made 42 arrests. The RAC says retailers, especially big supermarket chains, are failing to pass on significant falls in the wholesale cost of fuel to their customers. The motoring organisation claims prices at the pump are being kept artificially high. Simon Williams is the fuel spokesman for the RAC.
Wholesale prices started to fall from mid-October, and over the course of about 9 weeks, petrol fell by 23p and diesel by 32p. But at the pumps, over a far longer period, about 12 weeks, they only fell 18 pence and 20 pence. So in a rising market, they tend to put the price up very quickly, but in a falling one, they try and hold on to it, and obviously they make more money.
And the weather mainly dry and bright for much of Scotland and Northern Ireland, while England and Wales will have patchy cloud with drizzle in some areas. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 10.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
Thank you so much, Justine, and thank you, Dermot. Good morning.